Sir, if you wouldn't mind having a seat.
It's just amazing to hear you talk about these things, Lucky. It really is.
February 1944. I climbed into the co-pilot seat of Alice from Dallas 2 and pulled the pre-flight checklist out of the pocket under the window. Last one, number 25. Last night, when the mission came down from 8th Air Force Headquarters, I knew it was the one. I notified the squadron they'd be flying lead in the morning, and then called Captain Bill DeSanders, one of the 100th Bomb Group's original pilots from Texas. Like me, DeSanders was also sitting on 24 missions. I selected DeSanders' crew to lead the formation. Now, as I read off the checklist, the fate of so many others crept into the back of my head. Mission 25. DeSanders throttled the B-17's 4 engines and took off. 4 more hours, and we'd be done. This was going to be a milk run. By 11:30, Alice from Dallas 2 was climbing to 18,000 feet at the front of the Air Armada, headed for the French coast. The formation was halfway across the English Channel when I spotted the Luftwaffe fighters on the horizon. A mix of Me-109s and Me-110s. They weren't waiting for the bombers to reach the coast, as they usually had. Instead, they were meeting us over the channel. I watched as the fighters rocketed toward our lead ship. The first passes were focused on our ship. The Germans always attacked the leader, hoping to throw the whole formation into chaos. It was like flying through a swarm of bugs. I'd faced this kind of onslaught in the past, but usually over Germany. The cacophony of the engines, mixed with the buzzing fighters and the staccato burst of machine gun fire, soon blended into one continuous roar. It was almost overwhelming. This was supposed to be a milk run, not a fight for our lives. I shot a glance over to DeSanders. He was calm, unfazed by the flurry of fighters, and I closed my eyes and refocused. DeSanders and I set the formation on the initial point and gave the bombardier control. Just after passing over the French coast, I spotted the target. Flak began exploding around our ship as the formation got closer to the target. It paled in comparison to my Bremen mission, but we were still taking fire. Soon I heard the bombardier on the interphone getting ready to drop. It felt like hours until I finally heard the 2 words that told me the mission was almost over. Bombs away. Below, 2 tons of 500-pound bombs rained down on the German launch site. Behind us, more than 300 bombers unloaded as DeSanders and I made the turn for home. As we circled back, the bombardier reported in, "We hit it right on the nose," he said. A few minutes later, Alice from Dallas 2 was back over the English Channel. We were home free. When the bomber crossed over the shoreline, I leaned over and slapped DeSanders on the shoulder. "Boy, oh boy, congratulations," I said in the interphone. DeSanders, his oxygen mask pulled down, smiled and stuck out his hand. We shook on it. On their interphones, the rest of the crew congratulated us. When Thorpe Abbotts came into view, DeSanders took a victory lap around the tower. The crew fired off flares as we passed. we were done and hadn't lost a ship on the mission. I spotted the crowd forming at Alice from Dallas 2's hard stand. DeSanders lined up for the landing. The bomber touched down, and DeSanders and I swung it around and headed for the hard stand for the last time. As we taxied, the top turret gunner, Technical Sergeant Albert DeGregorio, patted DeSanders and me on the shoulders. His smile was as large as ours. DeSanders and I shut down the engines for the last time. 25. As I stood with DeSanders and took pictures, I felt light. A weight lifted from my shoulders. For the first time in almost a year, I was living with a future again.